What it do, y'all? Bread Tuck Rob, Bread Tuck Legacy podcast. Y'all know what it is, man. Got that beverage on me. Can't tell you what I'm sipping because I ain't paying. Got the banger on me just in case boys, get crazy. But God forbid. Um, Man, this is slightly bittersweet, just a little bit, man, because this is my final official podcast, man. Before we get into that, man, this is a Bread Tuck Legacy podcast. I'm Bread Tuck Rob. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror, available right now on Amazon, man. But let me take a sip, man. Let me take a sip for the work I put in. Mm-hmm. Mm. That's all right. So check this out, man. Um, this is my final podcast, man. I'm gonna move on and focus on this particular thing I need to focus on. I've been podcasting for over a year. Um, I give myself a year when I do things. That's the measuring stick, man. A year. I did this thing called Mindset Mondays, man, where every Monday, and sometimes I think it's eventually moved them to Sundays or something like that, but every Monday or Sunday, it came out every week. I put out a 60-second motivational video or inspirational video, man, because motivating, that comes from within. I can't motivate you. I dropped a 60-second inspirational video, man. I did that for a year straight. Started that in like January, I think like January 23rd, and ended on like January 23rd or something. Whatever that Sunday was, I ended it there, man. Gave myself a year. And I just believe in being consistent with things. If I say I'm dropping, I'm dropping. I'm not gonna play around with you, man. That's why when I started this podcast, I went through this hosting site called Audio Boom, and I don't want to spend too much on the hosting site because y'all don't care. But excuse me, it's pretty much what that is where you house the back office of your podcast. Okay, it's just like if you build a website, what hosting site are you going to go through to kind of build your website, that type of stuff. I went through this place called Audio Boom, man. They were charging $10 a month, and they wouldn't. You were only allowed to drop one podcast a week, and I felt handicapped, for a lack of better terms, and I wanted to house my podcast somewhere where I could drop. If I wanted to drop a podcast every day, I could do that. So I started with Audio Boom on like June 23rd of 2018. And I said, man, I'm gonna at least do this podcast thing for a year. Now in September 15th of 2018, I found a different hosting site. So I had to take all my previous podcasts that were created and move them to this new hosting site that I'm with now. And I pretty much committed to a year. I paid up for a year, and I'm like, so from September 15th to whatever Sunday comes before I have to pay money to renew, I'm going to commit. I'm dropping every week. And sometimes I put out multiple podcasts. That hosting site gave me the freedom to do that. Now, when I transitioned from Audio Boom to Podbean, where I am now, I lost people. I was picking up steam on Audio Boom. As I moved to the new podcasting hosting site, I kind of lost people. People were already subscribed, and you just lose people when you transition. But I say, yeah, man, I'm going to give myself a year, man. And this year has come, man. This is my final podcast before I would have to renew and paid to renew to do one next Sunday. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. But I want to say, man, this was a beautiful journey for me with the podcasting. And like I said, I give the measuring stick as a year. I did Mindset Mondays, did that for a year straight, did this podcast for a year straight. And I began to think to myself, maybe I should give myself more time. And I'm not talking about with the podcast, I'm just talking about when I do things, when I commit to things, give myself more time. Let me sip. But I had to come to this realization on my own because I'm not around people who commit to things and show up consistently with those things that they commit to. So when it comes to being like consistent, I'm kind of in this alone. So there's no accountability. I have to look outside. I have to look at Toby Nwange, the rapper, who drops a video every week. I have to look at stuff like that. I have to look at the Joe Budden podcast. I have to look for things that are outside of my circle or outside of my reach. And I heard Toby Nwange say, you know what, man? I heard he was on a radio station in Houston. He said, I was going to commit to dropping a video every week, a rap video for 10 years straight. Every week, 10 years straight. And after those 10 years, if I didn't blow up, then I would move on to something. Move on to something else or call it quits or be like, hey, I tried, blah, blah, blah. And I listened to that, man. I said, 10 years straight? Goodness. But then it hit me. I need to give myself that type of commitment. Because I'm doing year commitments. It's like, you look at the NBA. Let me take a sip. You look at the NBA, and these big name profile players are doing essentially they're doing 1 year commitments. Like LeBron, he'll sign like a 2-year deal. And within that 2 years, that first year, if he doesn't like it, he has the option to opt out of his contract. That's a 1 year deal. So he's doing a 1 year deal to see if he likes it here, see if he could maneuver and build something, and then he'll recommit later. But I looked at myself, I look at Toby, I look at the Joe Budden podcast, I listen to this guy, Jay Jones on the Black Entrepreneur podcast. And every Monday he drops. Boom, he drops. Even if it's not a new show, he drops. And he's been doing that for 4 years straight. Now, I've been dropping every week for a year. You don't miss me, dog. I'm dropping every year. But in my next endeavor, I'm going to commit for longer than a year. Because it's all about putting that work in, man. You got to put that work in if you want to be great. And I'm putting the work in, but I may not be putting enough work in for a specific time period. And that's what I'm going to do with my next endeavor. And the reason I'm going to fall back on the podcast, because I'm not in position to focus on multiple things at once. I need to take one thing, focus on that one thing, build that one thing, make that one thing extremely successful, then I could branch off from that one thing and then have 2 things and go to 3 things, 4 things, 5 things. Pause, because that sounds crazy. But that's the realization I came to, man. I'm going to commit longer. Like I said, I always wanted a podcast, man. I talk like this is therapy for me. This is therapeutic. I get my thoughts out. And I'm not going to stop doing that. I'll still do videos and I'm still going to, do things like that. But what I'm going to move on to is blogging. Y'all, the only people listening to this are the only ones that know, because I don't put my business out there until it's time to move. But I'm getting a website built and I'm a phenomenal writer. So I'm going to write. It's pretty much going to be an online publication. and I'm going to write on there. And, you know, the goal is to put something out every day, because I put things out every day on Facebook. Why not put something out every day on my own site? And the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, we could post on Facebook, we could post on Instagram, we could post on Twitter, but we do not own these sites or apps. If they get tired of what we're posting, or if they think what we're posting is, has the ability to cause conflict, they'll remove us. I've been in multiple Facebook groups where I've been removed because I was attempting to fight for something and try to get people to rally behind me and back me. And the administrators of that group was like, we don't want that kind of smoke. Let's get him up out of here. Or I've been in, and I've also been kicked out of groups where I was gaining popularity in the groups because of my writing. And I was getting a lot of hate and stuff. And then I was like, man, I'm going to start my own group. And then the group I was in, they was like, well, if he's competition, I'm going to get him up out of here, which makes sense. So I'm going to take my phenomenal writing ability and I'm going to start posting on my blogs. And I'm going to push to get my blog as popping as your media takeouts, as popping as your allhiphop.com, if that's still around, as your boss ups and all that. But mine is going to be inspirational. It's going to be thought-provoking. And that's what, so I own the domain to the BreadTuckLegacy.com, or excuse me, BreadTuckLegacy.com, and that's coming soon. I have somebody working on that, and we're going to move. We're going to move forward with that, and it's going to be consistent. And that's, I'm going to house my content on there. You'll be able to buy my book on there. It's going to have links to my YouTube, to my Instagram, Facebook, all that on my site. Independent. We bossing up. But I'm going to be committed to that. Yeah, man. And when I commit to something, I do it. And I believe that if you want to do something, you should do it. Like, this is 2019. Don't let nobody hold you back. It's all kind of technology. If you want to make, I made a movie. I made a short film called Hunt Money. It's on YouTube. Wasn't the best shot movie. It's kind of slightly corny, but it's my movie. I made it. I was inspired by Spike Lee. I was inspired by Tyler Perry. I was inspired by Master P. I was inspired by Dame Dash. These brothers making their own movies. Ryan Coogler. You know, and I say, or Ryan Coogler, excuse me. And I say, man, I'm going to put together my own movie. And I made that movie to promote an event that I put together with two other cats, and we did this independently. Don't let nobody hold you back from nothing. You can do it. Just do it. You may think that you don't have all the resources, but you do. You have everything you need around you. You have people who are willing to help you around you. Everybody's not willing to help you. Everybody's not willing to push you. But there are people that see what you're doing and they'll lend a hand. But you have to just do it. Just take a step. And then take another step. Then take another step. Then people will see you taking steps and they'll lend a hand. So I want to encourage you to just do whatever you want to do, man. And here's one of the most important things. My podcast and Mindset Mondays, these were free pieces of content. Let me see. My YouTube. These are free pieces of content I was putting out. And I told a friend of mine that these were commercials for me. My podcast is a commercial. My videos are commercial. These are free. Anybody can access these. But within this free content, I'm promoting my book that I'm selling. So every week I was putting out this free content to promote my book. That's just like TV. I heard that like these TV shows are, you know, some of them are loss leaders. They give you these free TV shows on these networks to promote the products in the commercials. to promote the products and the shows. So I'm gonna lose money on this TV show. I'm gonna lose money on this movie I put together, Hunt Money. Yeah, I'm gonna lose money on the podcast. I pay every year and don't get paid for it. That's fine. But while I'm paying for this and not getting paid for this particular item, I'm selling you this book though. So I'm giving you this for free to sell this. So my podcast and my videos serve as my mixtape. So to all my creators, find your mixtape. Put a consistent mixtape out there and promote something you're selling within your mixtape. That was a little too deep. Everybody's not going to get it. Now, I'm not saying drop a physical mixtape with you rapping and harmonizing like Young Thug or something, but if you've created something that you're trying to sell, give something consistently for the free, whether it be video, podcast, audio, whatever. Give something consistently for the free. But while you're giving that for the free, promote what you're trying to sell them also. So find your mixtape. Let me sip, man, because that was a bar. That mixtape had a bar in it. It had a couple bars in it. And, I mean, for the most part, man, that's pretty much it, man. I want to say I love y'all. I'm not going anywhere. This is the BreadTuckLegacy podcast. This is the BreadTuckLegacy podcast. I'm your host, BreadTuck Rob. This is the final podcast. I'm still going to be putting out videos on YouTube. You can catch my recaps to Black Lightning, recaps to Insecure, recaps to the Texans games. I'm still going to put out these 1-minute videos. I'm still going to get my thoughts out because, like I said, this is therapy for me, man. But look for my blog that's coming soon, man. And all my information, man, it's in the, you can follow me on Instagram, you could follow me on YouTube, whatever. All that information is going to be in whatever information box you're listening or hearing it or watching this from. So if you're looking at this on YouTube, information in the information box. If you're listening to this on a podcast, my information is there, man. But y'all know what it is. This is the BreadTuckLegacy podcast. This is the BreadTuckLegacy podcast. I'm your host, BreadTuck Rob. Y'all mucho, take it easy. H-Town all day. Love y'all.